Hi, my name is Mrs. Laika Erosa, and I would like to discuss the Australia. Australia, officially the Commonwealth of Australia, is a sovereign country comprising the mainland of the Australia continent, the island of Tasmania, and numerous smaller islands, with an area of 7,617,930 square meters. Australia is the largest country by area in ocean and the world's sixth largest country. Next, the gross domestic product. The gross domestic product (GDP) in Australia was worth $1,330.90 billion in 2020, according to official data from the World Bank. The GDP value of the Australia represents 1.19% of the world economy. Example of gross domestic project. So, may kita po natin dito yung pagtaas tsaka yung pagbaba. 2013, ito ay mataas, 1,576.2. Tsaka yung pinakamababa ay noong 2016, 1,208.9. Ngayong latest naman na 2022 ay 1,450. Next na example sa gross domestic project. So, may kita natin dito yung related, list, previous unit, reference. So, sa related, may kita natin GDP, GDP per capita, GDP per capita PPP, GDP from utilities, GDP from public administration, GDP from mining, GDP from manufacturing, GDP from construction, GDP from agriculture. So, may kita natin dito sa example, yung GDP ng list ay 1,330.9, previous 1,396.60, tas unit USD billion. So, siya yung pinakamataas dito. December 2020 siya. Yun yung pinakamataas sa example. Next, yun pa rin, example ng gross domestic project. Australia GDP. The gross domestic project GDP measure of national income and output for given country economy. The gross domestic project GDP is equal to total expenditure for all final goods and service product within the country in stipulated period of time. May kita dito yung example ng actual ay 1,330.90, previous 1,369.60, highest 1,576.20, lowest 18.60, date 1960 to 2020. So, yun. May kita natin unit tsaka frequency. So, yun yung example. Next, purchasing power parity. The gross domestic product per capita in Australia was recorded at $48,697.84 in 2020. When adjusted by purchasing power parity (PPP), the GDP per capita in Australia when adjusted by purchasing power parity is equivalent to 274% of the world average. Next, may kita natin dito yung example ng purchasing power parity. So, yun, yung 2012, siya yung pinakamababa. And nung 2019, siya yung pinakamataas. Tapos, nung 2020, bumaba siya ng 48,697 0.84. So, yun yung example. Next, purchasing power parity pa rin po yung example. Nakikita natin dito yung related, last, previous, unit, reference. Related, GDP per capital, GDP per capital, PPP. So, makikita po natin dito yung mga numbers kung tumaas tsaka bumaba. Tsaka yung date kung kailan. Next example naman ay sa purchasing power parity pa rin. Australia, GDP per capital PPP. The GDP per capital PPP is obtained by dividing the country's gross domestic product adjusted by purchasing power parity by total population. So, may kita natin dito yung example, yung actual, previous, highest, lowest, dates, unit, frequency. So, yung actual, 48,697.84. Previous, 49,455.54. Highest, 49,455.54. Lowest, 30,298.93. So, yung date niya ay 1990 to 2020.
Good day everyone, I am Alyssa from HRDM and I'll be discussing the HDI and GDI of Australia. As the data provided for the Australia from 1980 to 2020, during that period, the HDI of Australia in 1980 has a 0.980 with a minimum of 0.841, while in 2020 is 0.944 points. You can see the longer historical series for the HDI graph from 1980 to 2020. The next one is the GDI. As from 2019, the GDI value of Australia for females is 0.932 with 0.955 for males, resulting in GDI values of 0.976.
Good day everyone, I'm Jamel Martinez. The first one is gender empowerment measure. The 2021 measures the gender-based gaps of 156 countries among 4 key dimensions: economic participation and opportunity, educational attainment, health and survival, and political empowerment, and tracks progress towards closing those gaps. When the index commenced in 2006, Australia was ranked 15. And the second one is Human Poverty Index. For that indicator, we provide the data for Australia from 1980 to 2020. The average value for Australia during that period was 0.905 points with a minimum of 0.944 points in 1980 and a maximum of 0.944 points in 2020. The latest value from 2020 is 0.944 points. For comparison, the world average in 2020 based on 185 countries is 0.724 points. See the global rankings for that indicator or use the country comparator to compare trends over time.
I'm Grachelle and Suizo, and I will be discussing the gross domestic product and purchasing power parity of the Mali. Mali is a vast Sahelian country, has a low-income economy that is undiversified and vulnerable to commodity fluctuations and climate changes to pose a threat to agriculture and food insecurity. So now, gross domestic product is the combined effects of the pandemic, where agricultural performance and the socio-political crisis pushed the Malayan economy into recession in 2020. Real GDP rebounded slightly in 2021 with growth estimated at 3.1% driven by the recovery in the key sectors of agricultural and services. Improvements in the terms of trade during 2019 to 2020 periods driven by a surge in gold prices in the international market slowed in 2021. This deceleration, coupled with the recovery in import demand, led to an increase into the current account deficit despite of the decline in external flows. Budget expenditure, which had been increased in 2020 to be respond to the pandemic and contain the socio-economic crisis, continue to arise, driven in particular by the wage bill and security spending. The recovery observed in 2021 also resulted in the increased tax revenues, helping to stabilize the fiscal deficit at 5.5% of GDP. And GDP figure in 2020 was 70,465 million. Mali is number 122 in the ranking of GDP of the 196 countries that we publish. Next is the purchasing power parity or PPP in Mali was reported at 2,348 USD in 2020. According to the World Bank collection of development indicators compiled from the officially recognized sources, Mali GDP per capita PPP actual values, historical data, forecast, and projections were sourced from the World Bank on May 2022. So the statistical confidence interval of the ranking in Mali and the GII 2021 is between rank 116 and 125. Mali performs better in innovation outputs than innovation in outputs. 2021, this year Mali ranks with 126 in innovation inputs, the same as last year but lower than in 2019. As for innovation, outputs in Mali ranks in 114.
Good day everyone, I am Aina Felonia of HRDM 3D. I will be discussing the HDI and GDI of Mali. In the year 2019, the HDI value of Mali is 0.434. That resulted the country to be in the low human development category. From 0.234, it increased to 0.434 HDI value in between 1990 and 2019. In those years, Mali's life expectancy at birth increased by 13.6, mean years of schooling increased by 1.6 years. Also, the expected years in schooling increased by 5.4 years. The cost of living in Mali is $558, which is 1.72 times less expensive than the world average. Mali ranked 160th out of 197 countries. The average salary after taxes in Mali is $310, which is enough to cover living expenses for 0 to 6 months. The GDI measured gender inequalities in achievement in 3 basic dimensions of human development. The first one is health. It is measured by female and male life expectancy at birth. The second one is education. It is measured by female and male expected life of schooling for children and mean years for adult ages 25 years and older. The third one is command over economic resources. It is measured by female and male estimated GNI per capita. The 2019 female HDI value for Mali is 0.388, in contrast with 0.473 for males, resulting a GDI value of 0.821.
Good day everyone, my name is Jiesselle. I'm here to discuss the Gender Empowerment Measure and the Human Poverty Index of Mali. Mali has one of the fastest growing population in the world, but at the same time, Mali is one of the poorest country in the world. 10,581,637 female as of December 2021. The maternal mortality rate stands at nearly 10%, and food insecurity particularly affects women and children. And also, 2012 crises have a huge impact on women than on men. Some of them lost their house, job, and remain in dangerous living conditions. Gender-based violence is widespread across the country, and the women often do not have access to justice due to social pressure and ignorance of their rights. That's why UN Women Mali ensure to gender equality and women empowerment, and they make a plan, strategy, flagship rights of women, and also support partner including government, civil society, and work closely with local private. The Mali rank in Human Poverty Index is 185 with 0.724 all over the world. In Mali, if a person survives his or her childhood of high morality, he or she may live much longer. So, the shortest life in Mali at the age 50. More than 2 million children aged between 5 to 17 years old still do not go to school, and half of Mali young people aged 15 to 24 are not literate.
Brazil has the ninth largest economy in the world and the largest in Latin America with a nominal GDP of $1.85 trillion. Brazil is also the largest and the most populous nation in Latin America. Brazil has the world's 73rd highest per capita GDP of 8,967 of GDP and a PPP of $2.40 trillion. The country has an estimated $21.8 trillion in natural resources, which includes vast amounts of timber, uranium, gold, and iron. In 2020, Brazil's share in the global gross domestic product, adjusted for purchasing power parity, amounted to approximately 2.39%.
Hi, good day. I am Angelica Tagalog, and here's the gender empowerment of Brazil. Country. Brazil went down by 22 in rank for the Global Gender Gap Political Empowerment Sub-Index from 2006 to 2021. Its latest rank is 108 out of 155 countries for 2021, and last is the Human Poverty Index of Brazil. The Gender Inequality Index can be interpreted as the loss in human development due to inequality between female and male achievements in the three Gender Inequality Index dimensions. For more details of GII, please see technical note number 4 Brazil has a GII value of Gender Inequality Index of 0.408, ranking it 95 out of 162 countries in the 2019 index. That is all. Thank you.